tell us a little bit about Karanbir. What was he like?
He was a very lively child. He loved life. He was always making videos. He was always smiling. He never let his circumstances get him down.
And you said he never let his allergies limit him. Can you tell us a bit about his allergies?
He was allergic to wheat, gluten, milk, egg, peanut, soya, grass, everything, mainly. But he lived with it okay. There was a lot of products we found out there that was gluten-free, milk-free, and if I could have tried something new, I gave it very little to make sure that he could have it.
And what would happen if he came into contact with something he was allergic to?
The first thing he would take is Piriton, because he knew that first thing you feel is hot and bothered, and then you would feel like your skin is going red and hives. And I always had Piriton wherever I went, and an EpiPen. But I never really had any incidents where he had anything apart from when he was very young.
Can you describe that incident, that specific incident? What happened?
He had Twiglet. He went home we went back home into my place, and within 10 minutes he was getting very hot. He was hives everywhere, his body was red. And I dialed 101, called the NHS helpline, and I was very lucky because the other girl on the phone recognised the sign straight away and called for an ambulance. While the ambulance was coming, she was obviously still on the phone, and as soon as they came up the stairs, they gave him an EpiPen. They just saw one look at him and they gave an EpiPen, and they timed it, and they literally waited for about half a minute, and then they gave him another one, and they gave him back. But he was still around, but his face was swollen, his lips were swollen. As soon as they gave him his EpiPen, then he was admitted to hospital, and we found out he's allergic to wheat.
And so you learned, how old was he then?
He's 2.5.
And so you learned early on in his life that when he came into contact with things he was allergic to, it was serious.
It was very serious. That is when I realised the seriousness of it.
And in terms of Karanbir, how did he live with his allergies? How did he cope?
He coped fine. He did not allow his circumstances to get to him. He just realised there's certain things I couldn't eat, certain things he wanted to eat, like chocolates and things. He used to frustrate him, but he never allowed his circumstances to get to him.
Were there occasions where his eczema would really flare up? Can you give us an idea of how bad it would become?
When he was a baby, he was diagnosed with atopic eczema at 6 weeks. He was then hospitalised, and I was given ways and treatments how to maintain that eczema. And how I done it was my own ways of dealing with things, because of the chlorine in the water. I boil the water, I'd sort of lie him down, and I'll sort of massage his skin till the creams penetrated into his skin. And looking at pictures now, you won't think he's got eczema, although the weather, stress, school exams would sort of bring it out again, and he would just control it himself. He's got to the age where he knew how to look after himself.
And so tell me about what happened at school that dreadful day. How did you find out what had happened?
That morning, I had a phone call at 11:33 saying Current's touched something he's allergic to. Can we give him Piriton? I was quite shocked why they asking me when I'd already reiterated, just please give it to him, then let me know. I even wrote an email to that fact. Something said to me something's not right by the way the girl spoke to me. And I tried to ring the school back. Nobody was picking up the phone. And when I did eventually get to the school, they told me I need to come to school now. So obviously, instantly I left work and I ran to school, and he was on that paramedic table. That's the last time I saw him. I didn't even get to say goodbye. As you know, it's so important for everybody now to acknowledge life is so precious, because that morning I was late for work and I rushed down, and I sort of said, don't be late home.
And what happened after that?
He was rushed into hospital, which was the nearest hospital to us, Northwood Park, which they tried to revive him. They got him stable, and then he was sent to Gosh. Last time I saw my son.
And it was a case where he was kept alive for a little bit.
Yeah. But due to the lack of oxygen in the brain, because nobody reacted in school, oxygen was lacking, and he even said in school at the time, please help me or I'm going to die. He knew himself what would happen if nobody would help him.
How does that make you feel?
They took away my blessing. They destroyed my life. But it's important, this lesson is important for every schools now to act. Schools need to be responsible. Allergies, they need to teach children about allergies. Allergies are on the rise more than ever. Mental health is on the rise more than ever. But like they're teaching everything else, they need to teach other children to recognise the signs, and if other children can help. Children need to be taught in school.
In the inquest, it was discovered that this EpiPen that was given to Karanbir was 11 months out of date, and they didn't have a second EpiPen for him, and they administered everything a bit too late. How does all that information, how does it make you feel?
Well, it's obviously destroyed my life. It's just taken away everything from me. But I hope this incident, what we need to do now is to teach other schools, for other parents, for other children, so this never happens again. Because this is something my child probably would have done as well. He wanted to become a mentor in his school. Let's teach the schools. Let's teach the schools to teach themselves. How I taught my son to look after himself. He went from this incident happening to him, he walked himself to the welfare room to approach the teacher. He knew, hence, help me or I'm going to die. Schools need to be aware now that if incidents happen like this, training is important. Recognise the signs straight away and act. Don't leave it too late. I have learnt by Dr. Fox that even if you're not sure, it doesn't hurt to give the EpiPen. There are no repercussions of giving the EpiPen. Just give it.
What do you think went wrong that day?
Lack of knowledge of allergies, lack of understanding, first aid training, basic first aid training, and not being scared of allergies. Allergies is a way of life now. I did not know when Karan was a baby what to do, but I learnt because he was my life. We need to teach the schools, educate the schools like I educated my son.
And how would you like that to look? You talked a bit about training. What else would you like done in schools to better protect children?
I want it to brought into legislation that every single school should have a generic health plan and follow that health plan. Not have their own, where they follow their own rules. Have a generic health plan where you're following A, B and C. This is what you do. Child says he's allergic to something, act.
So the Department of Health and schools say they have guidelines in place. Do you think that they're sufficient, and if not, why not?
I think the evidence speaks for itself. My son's not here. That's why the evidence, and it's definitely not in place. We need to implement them in schools, and it's mainly high schools. I have spoke to quite a few people whose parents are quite distraught because the schools are not taking responsibility. It is the responsibility of the parent. Yes, but we send your child to school, so when he's in your care, you have better understanding of allergies and how to respond to them, how to react to them, how to understand them, understand the allergy. Understand it is not life-threatening unless you don't act.
And how has life been? It's been over 2 years, hasn't it? How has life been for you?
There isn't. I just live day to day. I just live day to day. I've lost my best friend. It's hard. He was a very clever child, very articulate, as you'll see. I couldn't wish for anything better. And I just wish the school knew what they were doing, or people in the school knew what they were doing.
You still celebrate his birthday, don't you?
Yeah, he just had his 16th birthday. I went to his family in Wolverhampton with his brothers and sisters. Gagan Arshgopal, his Masi, Nina Masi, his master Jag. They made a beautiful cake. And his favourite team, Man City.
Why is it still important to keep his memory alive in this way?
So no other child goes through this again. So no other child goes to school, has to fear that he's going to die if they don't react.
And you can't go into his room, can you? Can you tell us a bit?
Not at the moment. I just want the memory to be there, how he left it. Eventually we'll have to go, but not at the moment, I can't.
And you said that life, you're just living it. What do you want to achieve now?
I don't want nobody to go through it again. I want better understandings in schools. I want the government to come and help us. I want the government to say, let's implement this in school, bring a generic plan to help no other mother to go through this. My son would have done the same. He wanted to become a mentor. He was so intelligent, so happy. He was a happy child, and he didn't deserve this. He didn't deserve this. He helped a lot of people.
You can see through the photos he always had a big smile on his face.
There isn't a photo I don't have where there isn't one. There isn't a photo I don't have where there isn't one. He was always happy. And he never let his allergies, his eczema, his asthma bring him down. Momentarily, yes, but on a long scale, no.
He was very brave as well, wasn't he? Because there were times where he would be in pain.
Yes, and he'll deal with it. He will deal with what his situation, and he'll live with it, and he'll know how I've taught him. If you don't do anything about it, it's only going to get worse. So in order to look after yourself, be aware of what's going on around you, what you can have, what you can touch, Yeah, he dealt with it himself.
If I was the Prime Minister, or if I was the Health or Education Secretary, what would you want to say to me to change things?
Have a generic plan, which must be followed, A, B and C. Talk to the parent about the child's allergy. I think that's very important. If the school, the parent and the child all have a meeting and understand the allergy, work together. You send your children to school 8 hours a day and you want your child to come home safe. So work together with the parent, with the school, with the child, have one generic plan and discuss that plan with the parent. I wasn't given that opportunity.
And what's the emotional message you would say to them? Why is it important? If I was the Health Secretary or the Education Secretary, why does it matter?
Because I don't have my son because of the lack of understanding, knowledge and doing something about it. That's why it's important. It cost me my son's life. It cost me my life. The world has lost a very happy, loving, caring person, selfless person, because nobody knew what they were doing. Thank you.